I'm moved.
So dramatic.
I don't know
all
what
about
to
the
say.
music. All about the music.
Holy cow! I mean, I had to wipe away some of the tears, but I got to tell you, if you just watch that and don't know what we're doing right now, it's the gentleman from the upcoming relaychain.com, which is the reinvigorated 0.Exchange. So, Graham, Edmund, thank you for joining Ryan and I today. This is so awesome. That video was spectacular.
We've got some really, really talented community members that came together to get that together. So a big shout out to them and thank you.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions as we go through this, but can you guys kind of, take us through the genesis of what's been happening? We had you all on when 0.Exchange was, just pumping. And then it was like, okay, we need to do a transformation. We need to be better. So take us through what happened from 3 months ago to now.
Sure, I'll give my comments and then let Edmund give his as well. I think our kind of sentiment is probably pretty similar, and Zero, I think, had a lot of the right bones in the body, right, and it had a really, really good launch and growth through various blockchains. I think we got a little distracted, and I think it's okay to say that and understand that there were a couple of missteps. The kind of rebirth of Zero into Relay Chain and Relay Token was prompted just by our team having some really, really kind of critical conversations in terms of how we were going to proceed, and really what came out of that conversation was an understanding that we needed to reroute in what our strongest utility and value add piece of our platform was, which was our bridge and the uniqueness of our bridge. At the time when we launched on Avalanche, it was one of the only bridge, if not the only bridges. And since then, we've made a lot of small but very, very impactful improvements to that bridge, and that conversation led us to say, what is kind of the unique value proposition of what we can do to mitigate a lot of the challenges that we have with Zero, namely eliminating a lot of the farming reward sell pressure in our native project token. And we realized, our relayers, which are the validating votes for transactions that go across our bridge, collect fees in gas tokens. And wouldn't it be cool if we could return that profit in gas token to our community of users in a way that completely eliminated the native project token sell pressure and gave us ammunition and a treasury to do all kinds of great things for the token itself, like buying back the token, like burning the token, like seeding initial liquidity for new partners. It just became something that, we said, is this possible? We realized it was, and that's kind of what prompted this kind of a desire to not start over, but to really focus on what we did well, which was the bridge.
Yeah, and just to echo on that just a little bit further, I think sometimes admitting DeFi, obviously you guys are have recently launched the Cent token, and it's a tricky space where change is daily, right? We say this all the time, but you're constantly fighting with competitors, you're constantly fighting with innovation, you're constantly trying to find your niche in the world. And it's not that we didn't want to be the greatest DEX ever and the IDO platform of choice and the all these things, right? At the end of the day, it's really hard. If you look at Uniswap and you look at SushiSwap and you look at QuickSwap and you look at PancakeSwap and you look at all these behemoths in the space, you learn quickly that it's hard, and not to say that we still won't have some really cool pools and we won't have some ability to take a lot of that tech we've already built out and a lot of that look and feel that we really still think differentiates us and separates us and makes us special, but just putting it all into the bridge, which is really what we've been on the show a couple times, right? Just the cross-chain aspect, what we think we do absolutely best.
Sorry to cut you off there, but
Yeah,
I think,
no, you're good.
We have a lot of new viewers and community members since we first started talking with you guys. That video gave me chills, by the way. I mean, I'm just so excited for this launch. But would you be able to go over just a quick overview or explanation of what it means to go cross bridge and how Zero has evolved from Zero to Relay Chain?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let me pop open a share screen, and I will throw up on the existing app. Make sure everything's loading. I always my demo wallet's never available. So you guys see how broke I really am. Of course, my browsers. Well, Graham, you want to quickly just talk towards it while I'm getting my browser up?
Yeah. So just from a when you go from being kind of something that is all encompassing, a IDO platform, what we hope to launch was a cross-chain NFT platform and really reroute into the bridge. The bridge itself is a chain-safe chain bridge platform or a product, and really, we think that bridging ecosystems together. I think that's really what you're seeing in DeFi right now, and constantly being messaged every day is kind of multi-chain, this cross-chain future, and having a very robust, reliable, fast bridge, allows us to do that and focus on that as our primary service offering, which we're referring to as bridging as a service. So when we approach prospects now, we approach them from the standpoint of we would love to connect your ecosystem with another ecosystem and help marry two communities together that wouldn't have otherwise had exposure to assets on other chains. So I think Edmund's got the screen up now, so I'll let him continue.
Yep. So, I mean, what you're looking at is kind of what we were, what we will still be to some aspect, but not really the focus. 0.Exchange at its core, when we first launched, was a fork of Uniswap, a tried and trusted, decentralized exchange with obviously a complete reskinning and rebranding to make it look honestly more fun, more fluid. Just straight down to the swap page where it's going to pull your balances, and I'll walk through the different aspects, with the big change being obviously we offer all the different chains of Ethereum and Smart Chain and Hecko, and again, to be a cross-chain DEX. Being a cross-chain DEX, as Graham has pointed on, and you can see it in the liquidity charts as we're cutting off rewards and getting ready for our rebranding, our reminting, is that it's hard. You have to emit rewards on all your chains, and that's very unsustainable from a token perspective. So, our wallet holders have always went up. Our total value locked has went down. Of course, again, the way Relay is going to work is in order to get Relay, you essentially have to hold zero. The only way to get Relay at launch is to hold zero. But again, that's going to show where our emissions right now are just on a few pairs to keep while we're getting ready, kind of finalizing some partnerships and finalizing our whole remint plan and kind of getting ready for our big launch. But the transfer is ultimately the bridge, right? So the whole focus is going to become on the bridge. So you can bridge your assets. Oh, excuse me, I'm like allergies today. You can bridge all your different assets to the different ecosystems. So in this case, you can bridge your zero token. Oops. Sorry, my internet has been horrific today. You can bridge your zero token, or in this case, what will be the Relay token, from Avalanche to Hecko, or Avalanche to BSC, or Avalanche to Matic. So again, and this is one of the things we've showed kind of many times before. Look, I don't even have enough AVAX in this account to do this swap. But the whole point being that there's lots of projects that want their tokens to live in different ecosystems. In less of a capability of high emissions, more just for a utility perspective. Different chains offer different things. So that's kind of really where we saw the space going, and we see the space going in a much bigger way when you talk about having, say, availability to BNB on Polygon Matic, or having access to the Matic token on PancakeSwap, or having access to the Huobi token anywhere in the US, for example, on through decentralized exchanges. Just kind of really good examples of these huge tokens that are really walled off in their different ecosystems with no good bridge connecting them at this time. If you are wanting to go get the BNB token, for example, and you want to bridge from Binance Smart Chain, really the only way to do it is through Binance. There are some other options, but they're slow, they're costly, and they're difficult. And if you don't want to have to use a VPN or something similar, again, it's almost unusable. So that's where we want to kind of fit the need and change bridging and offering those rewards through the gas token.
So a lot of people are really excited about this, and I guess they're wondering what exactly is the the swap rate from 0 to relay. I've seen some conjecture in the comments, but hearing it from you guys is always best.
Yeah, so we're going to be reducing the total supply. Where 0 has a 1 billion total token supply, or 950 million if you count the 50 million token burn that we did. We're going to be going back down to about 10 million, or at 10 million. So it's 100 to 1 reduction. Now, the way that you allow 0 token holders to maintain their current value is on the flip side, keeping the market cap the same. The price of relay will actually be 100x greater. So say 0 is 20 cents, the relay token will be $2. And that's how you allow people to swap 100 0 for 1 relay token.
Gotcha.
Well, let's talk about, first of all, for some people who don't know the new chain Hecko, can you explain that to folks what that is? And then kind of want to dive into the 8-chain play that you guys are planning on.
Yeah, sorry, and I'm actually just sending myself a little bit more AVAX so that way I can go across chain swap. I mean, it's not a lot. I just didn't have. I thought I had more in this account. I think what's 0.6 AVAX, like $5 or so. So Hecko is the native token, the decentralized chain of the Huobi ecosystem. So their native token is the Huobi token HT. It's their aim is to take on Binance Smart Chain. I think Binance as a centralized exchange, coupled with Huobi as a centralized exchange, are competitors, and they both have native tokens, being BNB and HT. And so they aim to Huobi's going to probably we're making a little bit of a bet on, but also because they're EVM compatible, we see that being a high volume, high interest chain in the coming months and years of the DeFi space.
All right.
And that's where, again, there's their little Hecko chain. And so that's one of the ones we just greenlit. We don't have any liquidity there yet. So if you bridge there, you're not going to be able to do anything with it at this time. Just warning the viewers. But, we're just getting it ready again for the relay rollout. In terms of, we're not stopping with Hecko. We have, I think, Cosmos on tap, Phantom on tap. I think we're looking into Solana. Am I dropping? I'm sure our devs are like, stop naming chains right now.
How do you pick the chains that you add? Like what criteria do you look for? And I guess what would make one a higher priority over another?
Definitely EVM compatibility, first and foremost. So if you look at the chains that we've integrated and implemented on 0 so far, Avalanche EVM compatible, Polygon same, and then BSC obviously the same as well. So when you integrate something that is EVM compatible, you get the benefit of all the existing tooling, right? So working with MetaMask, working with the various wallet providers out there, and then really just from an experience standpoint too, because Ethereum is such a beast in DeFi. That is the experience from a user perspective that people are used to, right? So, you take all of the great code from or Solidity and the contracts from Ethereum. They're very transferable over to other EVM compatible blockchains. The tooling comes over with it. It just makes for a much more seamless experience. When you talk about a blockchain like Solana, that is kind of faux EVM compatible. There are some very specific challenges with regards to integrating Solana. And if you actually go and go to experience the Solana DEX, Serum, if you go to other kind of somewhat compatible chains, you'll see that the user experience, because the tooling hasn't gotten there yet in terms of development, the experience isn't what it is on Ethereum. And that's really, I think, when you're talking about adoption and use, we right out of the gates had the challenge of providing AVAX tokens, the gas token for Avalanche, to our users. It becomes even more complicated, and Avalanche is an EVM compatible chain. So, those are the things that you have to keep in mind. But EVM compatibility is certainly kind of the path of least resistance. Those are the biggest chains that are being used in DeFi right now. So I think those are the ones that add the most benefit right off the bat.
And when looking at cross-chain swaps or compatibility, another great question from the comments: can people use the relay token as gas instead of that native blockchain token?
It's a great question. The answer is no. The answer is it was intentional. Could we have done it? Technically, yes. We'd have to take the bridge offline for a little while, convert the bridge to operate just on the relay token. But what that ends up doing is creating a barrier of entry. Basically, you're forcing people to go buy the relay token to make a bridge transaction. Now, we were looking into some roadmap options of having the relay token maybe be a discounted token that if you wanted to hold and use for bridge transactions, perhaps by holding and using it, you get a 10% discount on the cost of the bridge transaction or something along those lines. So we're looking into all that. But at the end of the day, for a bridge to be effective, it needs to be easy. It needs to be easy, and it needs to just work. So if it's working and it's with the hypey video and it's generating all the volume we hope, one, you fix the whole fungibility issue because everybody's using the bridge. So if you can go, get major dexes to partner and use your bridge and kind of put their stamp behind it, and you get major partners to do the same, and you kind of become the DeFi bridge of DeFi, then the fungibility issue just goes away because the tokens on that bridge become the de facto standard of that bridge. So that's one piece. And then the other piece is all those gas token fees that you're collecting are going to be buying back and burning the relay token anyways, thus providing, token support. So just by holding the relay token rather than using it as, say, a gas fee, you're able to kind of make a bet on the volume of the bridge. And then as a third piece, and this is where it's exciting, and that Graham briefly touched on it, how do you incentivize people to provide liquidity for pairs? Well, normally you give the relay token, or, as you guys will probably find out with the cent token, you'll have to reward some cent token. And that ultimately is just sell pressure. That's just what it is. It's how you get people into your ecosystem, and it's just part of the game, sure. But what if you could reward in BNB? If you could reward in AVAX, if you could reward in Huobi token or Matic or Ethereum, and you gave the LP rewards, the liquidity provider rewards, in these high volume tokens where, again, the user can sell it, they can hold it, they can speculate on it, but at the end of the day, it's not creating sell pressure for your native token.
One of the questions from SL in the audience is the vision for Relay to be the fastest, cheapest, and have the most bridges in the game?
I would say no. Not all of those in combination with each other. I think speed is really critical here. So if you look at one of the primary use cases of cross-chain transactions, it's arb trading. So essentially taking advantage of a price discrepancy of an asset on one chain that exists on another chain, and taking advantage of that in a sufficient quantity in terms of trade size where it actually becomes a profitable trade, even if the discrepancy is very small. So, from the standpoint of ARB, you can't really do ARB if your bridge takes 20 or 30 minutes, because by the time you've bridged your asset over to buy or sell, the discrepancy, you've seen that discrepancy has vanished or changed to become unfavorable. So speed, very, very critical. I think cheapest, not being completely transparent, we do not want to be the cheapest bridge. And the reason I say that is because we want to be able to have a ecosystem that is self-sustaining from a revenue standpoint, right? And you don't get that, like right now, our bridge is pretty much break even. It might actually even be operating at a slight loss. We want to return value to our loyal token holders, our community, and you do that by balancing what the fees are. So we're not going to be the cheapest. We're definitely not going to be the most expensive. We're by far, but finding that happy medium where you're able to reward your token holders consistently, and then have enough of a revenue to exist where you can do other really cool things like buy back the token, burn the token, seed new liquidity. Those things ultimately are going to really, really support and provide utility for the relay token, more so than having a really cheap bridge would.
Speaking of the relay token, is there a cutoff or a snapshot that's going to be taken for zero token holders? And if so, when will that be, if you've determined that?
Great question. So we have not determined a snapshot. That we've already taken snapshots for loyal or legacy holders of zero, in terms of I believe we're giving 1% of the relay supply to legacy holders as kind of a loyalty thank you. But in terms of otherwise owning zero today, up until we'll make sure we put a medium and a Twitter of just saying the swap is technically live. However, as an interesting little twist, I'm not sure we'll even turn it off at that point. I would half expect there might be a little bit of an interesting volume and arbitrage play where people are buying zero on the open market to swap it into relay, because once it gets swapped, it's held. It doesn't re-enter the market. Mm-hmm. But it could be an interesting little play where there's a little bit of a price discrepancy between the two, so it's cheaper to go buy some zero and swap it to relay and create some arbitrage and bridging opportunities there even. So it'll stay open at least until it all gets tied up in the contracts, and then we'll leave the swap open for probably 30 days. We're not trying to penalize people. We know there's people that hold their tokens and don't look back for a significant amount of time. There was a lot of feedback in the community that 30 days might be too short. So so we'll keep our ear to the ground on that one. I'm trying to think. Yeah, so again, owning zero today, we'll be owning relay in the future, hopefully the near future. One other thing Graham didn't touch on is just the security of the bridge. We do have trusted known relayers, one of which I believe you guys are good friends with, Bitcoin.com exchange. It creates credibility and trust with the bridge. There's been a couple different bridge exploits over the last week alone. Any swaps bridge, as well as chain swaps, I believe is the name. Many hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars exploited. They do not use chain safe technology. So just to be clear, the technology of the bridges are completely different. Ours is using a very tried and true hold and mint, burn and release mechanism. So it's, again, which has already been previously audited by Consensus Diligence, I believe is what it's called, as well as have we announced who we're getting ours audited yet by, Graham?
We haven't, but you probably, we were planning on making that announcement after this AMA, so I don't see any harm in just dropping it for the loyal followers here of TTC.
So basically the best in the business is Halborn. Or one of the best of the best. So we're getting our bridge fully audited by Halborn Securities. Again, pretty much the gold standard of audits. It's already, again, audited by Consensus, which is also a very, very, very good auditing, as well as Zokyo for that matter. But when you're holding hopefully millions of dollars of assets in the bridge, security can't be avoided, or security and due diligence shouldn't and can't be avoided. So we intend on taking that extremely seriously so that our partners and our users feel trust in that bridge.
Yeah, the guys at Halborn, I think, have every certification that you possibly could have in cryptography and security and pen testing and all kinds of stuff. And just look at their partner page and see the ecosystems and platforms they've already done audits for. They're some of the absolute biggest players in DeFi in terms of DEXs, blockchains. They've worked with Avalanche in the past. I believe they've done a full audit of Sushi Swap. So, we're talking the biggest, highest TVL, highest volume ecosystems. And to have them give our potential partners, our current partners, and just our community of users, that peace of mind is incredibly powerful. So big shout out to Halborn. They're a real professional pro group of guys, and they've done a great job so far.
I think you just gave them a great advertisement.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Edmund, would you be so kind? Did you make that transfer in your wallet?
I did. Yep.
Would you be so kind? Can I add your screen so you could just show the folks who haven't seen it before a bridge?
Yep. All right.
This
I just
is
did
so
one
cool.
already, so I actually already did
Yeah.
it while people were chatting. I'll have to I'll send one more AVAX over so we can do another.
The bridge is so cool watching it work. It's lightning fast. It blows anything else that I've
Let's see if I have any.
completely out of the water. It never gets old.
I'll see if I have any.
I'll
there we go.
share your screen when you tell me it's cool.
Oh, I thought you were. It said I was sharing already.
Oh, I
Interesting.
didn't know if you were going into the personal pocketbook. I didn't want
Oh,
anybody.
no, I'll have to let me I will go back into said personal pocketbook and send a little bit of
All right.
well, now we're on BNB, so I'll send a little BNB over.
Let me share now then.
Yeah, you can. I'll have to. It'll take a second. I gotta get
All
some.
right.
I gotta get some BNB into that account, but it won't take long. So doing it right now. What's kind of interesting is I believe you used to have a secret shopper you would ambush us with from time to time, and I hope we haven't heard from.
That's a good point. Actually, he brought that secret shopper. I guess one of his biggest concerns, and something that we heard from the community as well, and I know you guys have made a lot of progress on this, was I guess transactions that weren't crossing the bridge,
Correct. Yeah.
for whatever reason.
Yes.
Can you give us a little bit of background about around what was causing that and how that has been resolved?
Sure. Yeah. So if you look at one of the things that makes like a BSC or a Polygon so much faster than Ethereum is they've essentially taken Ethereum, forked it, eliminated all the decentralization of Ethereum, from the proof of work standpoint. And they've centralized it, right? So you'll see, Binance Smart Chain, for example, has 21, I think, validating nodes. In the grand scheme of decentralization, that is about as opposite as you can get. Now, the positive impact is speed, right? And one of the things that Binance Smart Chain and Polygon recently with some of the Iron Finance stuff, you've seen those networks get incredibly congested, right? So their ability to scale is pretty limited. And when the blockchains themselves become under load from a big event like Iron Finance, for example, you'll see that the blockchain actually goes out of sync. So how does that impact us? Well, it essentially pauses and or shuts down our relayers so that they can't vote. So what you end up happening is a bunch of transactions that are waiting in line to be approved, but can't be approved until the relayer comes back online. So two things here. We have implemented an auto restart script. So whenever one of the blockchains has issues with congestion, the relayers do restart. And then the second solution to that is we have created a way for the batching of transactions to be an automated process. So say, for example, just by accident, a newer user to the bridge is trying to send a cross-chain transaction without enough gas from Ethereum. What you'll see going forward is those transactions are auto-batched together, pushed through. And the big take-home, the big performance take-home here is that 99% of our transactions go through without any issue. And the average time from approval to the actual asset showing up on the destination chain is 2 or 3 minutes. So, look at that in comparison to most of the other bridges out there. You're looking at between 15, 20, 30 minutes and sometimes several hours. So the performance improvement is substantial.
Massive.
Am I up on screen? I can show
You
one.
are up on screen.
Okay.
Let's do a bridge.
All right, so I actually had already sent it over, so it did work once. So knock on wood, it works again. But we're just going from Smart Chain back to Avalanche. Had to fund the account with a little bit of BSC. It likes to do this when the RPC switches. So Little things, demo demons are my favorite thing, by the way. And also my internet has been terrible today. So, come on. So this is little things with any time you're doing bridging in general, is some of the RPCs can get overloaded, which is actually what Graham was just saying.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes as simple as just refreshing your browser is all you have to do. But we'll do it again. And it's mostly that my MetaMask has just been really acting up. So I blame my MetaMask. But again, 6.30 from Smart Chain to Avalanche. The fee is plainly listed. Hit transfer, hit approve, it pops up. With BNB, with most of the chains not named Ethereum, you don't have to change any of the gas settings. You just let them go. It works fine. And again, we do a lot more of the intelligent handling even of if you underspend on any of the chains. So that was a nice big change too, that was causing a lot of the stuck transactions as well, is that if you underspend on gas, it just spends a while on chain. And so if the relayer doesn't know to kind of go pull to see if it's actually done. So there you go, 6.3 for blah, blah, blah. 0 tokens were now sent back from Smart Chain to Avalanche. General time takes about 2 minutes or so, sometimes faster. I always like to just go to the swap page and see approximately how long. We'll switch this back to Avalanche.
And
we
just,
noticed, yep.
Yeah, the process that he just did took under a minute. The approval and the actual cross-chain transaction. So the approval transaction was the first transaction, and then the second one was the actual
transmit.
Transmit.
Yep.
I mean, it's so cool how fast this goes compared to using just the Ethereum blockchain and a MetaMask. I mean, it's just lightning fast.
Oh, right there.
I just change the chain. So some of the RPCs again take a little while to change. Everything seems to be a little loaded up as of late, but I just wanted to see if it came across. And it might not yet. It's not through yet. Again, it generally takes about 2 minutes, so I expect that balance to go up in the next while we're chatting. So, and the best part again is it doesn't, to the secret shopper point though, even if it takes 10 minutes, Polygon's a great example. I think almost everything going through yesterday was taking about an hour. In the old days, that would have, everything would have taken, we would have had to, get our, we'd have to manually push a lot of that through. And now it's just, we have script that goes and checks and pulls, and it's just, all it's doing is checking the RPC health. So it's checking the network health. And it's just checking and checking and checking and switching RPCs. It's trying essentially everything to push those transactions through. For example, I mean, even just doing trades on Polygon yesterday, you had to up your GUI, which is normally needs to be 1 to like 200. So on days like that, it's just hard to be a blockchain operator.
Absolutely. Another question, back to the relay token. JB in the comments asked if the legacy snapshot will work for liquidity pool providers.
Yep. If you've been providing 0 liquidity across any of our pools, yes. And it's already been taken, and we've already got you accounted for.
Ooh,
nice.
There we go.
So what is the goal then for the amount of pools? I mean, we watched that movie. It was riveting. It might be nominated this year at the
animated short. Best animated short.
Best animated short. I like it. I saw a lot of pools. What's the goal here?
Yeah, so I think the vision is to show where where we want to be, the direction that we're headed in. Certainly, we're confident that we can get there. I think one of the things, and again, go back to when we had Avalanche and Binance Smart Chain, and we were just pouring rewards out. The reason why the 0 token price appreciation never happened was because we gave away too many rewards. I mean, it's very simple as that. There's too many. Too much sell pressure, too much emissions, right? With Relay, you eliminate that, and it becomes something where, if you have sufficient liquidity on both sides of the bridge, and we'll talk about that as well, because I see some comments about liquidity, you're able to incentivize people in the same way, but you're doing so in tokens that are highly liquid, like BNB. You have no problem swapping BNB to any other asset because there is a ton of liquidity for it. Same thing with Avalanche or AVAX rather. Same thing with HT. Same thing with Matic. And that becomes the emitting token that you can do a lot with. You can swap those tokens for stable coins and hedge. You can reinvest those gas tokens and provide more liquidity. So it just becomes something that has and gives our users and even our partners a lot of options.
The first of all, it is the liquidity that counts so much. How is there? I don't even know if you can do this, but is there a way to have like a self balancer on both sides for when it comes to liquidity?
What do you mean a self balancer?
Like a mechanism for making sure that you have balanced liquidity and you don't come across, say, a transaction that's lopsided and all of a sudden it's
kind of like portfolio rebalancing, but
exactly.
Yeah. So the challenge there is who owns the liquidity, right? So does the project team own the liquidity, or is that something that is community provided? So there's probably some challenges there. If the project owns the liquidity on one side of the bridge, it becomes much easier to balance liquidity on the opposite side of that equation. But you can't ask, say, 100 people providing $1,000 worth of liquidity very easily, at least, to move their liquidity over so that an equation of liquidity between two chains becomes more balanced. So absolutely something that can be done if the project liquidity is the liquidity that would be moved and balanced. Not so easy if you're talking about, say, balancing a liquidity pool where the community has come in, and because you're providing BNB rewards for relay BNB pair, it's a lot harder when there's liquidity that is not under your control.
Yep, totally understand. I think one of the things that you guys have given us so much time on this has been tremendous. What are some time frames moving forward as far as the transition to some of the things that have to do with the transition from zero to relay? How is this going to look, let's say, over the course of the summer? Because I believe this is your time frame for reemergence. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, looking back and kind of looking in the mirror and understanding some of the things that we probably could have been doing differently with Zero. We were very much community members for Zero as well, in terms of getting excited and wanting to push news out as fast as possible. And I think there's a benefit to that, but what ended up happening was a lot of the announcements that we made, like Moonbeam, for example, that was a huge announcement, and our price actually dumped like 25% on that announcement because it was already priced in. And it's not that we really care about the token price, but we care about the experience that our community of users is having, and that obviously indirectly correlates to token price. So, again, I think one of the things where it's a balancing act is setting a firm date and time, because outside of setting an expectation with the community that is when an announcement or something as specific is going to happen, things happen all the time. And right now, as a couple of the users in the comments have mentioned, that liquidity is king, right? In order for this to work, we need to have a lot of liquidity on very specific assets. And certainly our team is going to be providing a significant amount of liquidity, but it's not going to be in at the level that we need to operate at the efficiency that we would like. So that means that we need to rely on partners and other ecosystems and other chains and other DEXs where they're going to come in and help us provide liquidity. And what we're going to do in return, and this is something that has not been, I think, communicated yet, is we're actually going to give them a portion of our fees, a small percentage of our fees, so that they are, one, protected from things like impermanent loss on the liquidity that they do provide. And if they are going to be providing liquidity mining rewards and say their native project token, we can help offset that by giving them the native gas token, which they can then use to buy back the tokens that they were emitting. So it becomes, that's where,
That's
providing
huge,
gas
by the way.
token rewards becomes a very, very strong leverage and negotiations point, because you're eliminating a lot of the blockers that, say, a prospect ecosystem DEX blockchain would have in partnering with us, because you're eliminating risk for them. You're giving them funds that they can use at their discretion to buy back the tokens that they're emitting in rewards, or to do other things, similar to what we're going to be doing with Relayer Profits, like seeding liquidity and moving funds to a DAO-controlled treasury. So those are all things that are now on the table, because we are not emitting Relay, we're emitting gas tokens.
That's cute. That is so huge. I mean, folks, literally have a hedging mechanism for you guys to guard against impermanent loss, because so many people are attracted to the pools that do have that risk feature. So to de-risk it like that and share some of the profits in order to bump that value up, I mean, that's such a great proposition. That's huge.
Indeed.
So very cool. I like this team. We've been interacting with these guys for quite some time now. We've gone through their ups and downs, and it's always an education on our part to learn from Edmund and Graham. They're two very smart cats in this space, and they've been around for a while. They know everybody. So I can't say enough. I mean, you guys keep up the tremendous work. You have a great community behind you who believe in you. And yeah,
we do. Yeah, thank you to our big shout out to our community. They've shown up recently with BMI coverage insurance. I think we're over $2 million in insurance now for our DEX, which is another safeguard that we're implementing. But yeah, that speaks to our community that despite the challenges that we've had with our zero token, they remain very loyal and dedicated to the cause. So we very much appreciate that.
I'm going to drop the Telegram community link right there. It's in the chat. They're called the Relayers, and it's a growing community. Definitely encourage you to join. I'm in there. Graham's in there. And then also, if you're a Trade the Chain member, don't forget in Discord, in our community there's a dedicated 0.Exchange channel, which will be changed over to Relay. And Graham is in there. He answers questions for our members all the time. So I want to thank you for that as well, buddy. That's so awesome of you to do.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you.
All right, folks. Definitely take a look, Stuart, and all you guys in the chat that have been participating. We really appreciate it. Any questions, go over to Relayer into the Telegram group, join it. A lot of members will answer questions or in the TTC Discord. Graham, Edmund, thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy. It's always hard to slot you in because you're always working. So till next time.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.